Alright, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of TEW Local to Global 1987. We're back with some GCW. Let's get straight into today's episode. So, we are in the New York Blue Cross Arena. Let's get into Fuel. So, I'm just looking at my page here, my booking. See what happened last week on Fuel. We had J.J. Dillon book the tag match. So, in the main event tonight, we're going to have Steve Austin teaming up with Ken Shamrock to face off against the Dynamic Dudes. And special guest referee Dustin Rhodes will allow Shane Douglas to get a pinfall victory over, let's say, Steve Austin. I think Steve can get a loss. We'll keep him strong. Absolutely. Okay. So that takes care of that. What else do we have? We have a sit-down interview with Mick Foley. Jim Ross. So sit-down interview with Mick Foley. This is the third interview. We had one first week of June, second week of June, and then we got this one, and then we got another one next week. And then, of course, we got Championship Wrestling at the end of this month. So that takes care of the Mick Foley interview. We're going to have Raven cut a backstage promo. Raven backstage promo. That can go there. We're going to have a promo with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho. We're going to get Eddie, and we're going to get Rey Mysterio and J.J. Dillon. Alright, so Jericho promo, Eddie and Ray come out, JJ books a match. Alright, we go 10 minutes, and that's going to go right there. We're going to have a segment with Jesse the Body Ventura, the owner of GCW, and Johnny Valiant, the commissioner. So, Ventura and Valiant are brainstorming ways to get J.J. Dillon out of here. Alright. We're going to have super cool dude Samu. And he's going to be in a segment with Scott Taylor. Super cool dude, Samu, comes out. He's gonna help Taylor become cool. Alright. And then let's fill in some matches. We're gonna get Scott Taylor versus the Sultan. Alright, I forgot a segment. I want Mean Gene to interview D'Lo Brown and Hunter Hearst Helmsley coming out. Gene interviews D'Lo. Comes out. Alright. That can go right there. Alright. We're going to open the show with the Mick Foley interview, I think. No, actually, no. No. We're going to get the Jericho promo to open the show. Alright, now we're going to book some matches. So, we need a match between the Raven segment. So I say Mike Awesome gets a match. He's going to be facing off against Who can he face off against? Lieutenant Flynn? We're gonna change his name, but Mike Awesome gets the victory. So, Lieutenant Flynn, what can we change his name to? What can we change his name to? Let's go with, Jerry. Just call him Jerry. This is my friend Jerry. And we're gonna rename this. There you go. And then we've got the Gene interviewing D'Lo, so we're gonna get D'Lo in a match. D'Lo Brown's not a main eventer, that's nice. So D'Lo Brown will get a match defending the television championship against Sergeant Armstrong. 13 minutes, TV championship on the line. D'Lo Brown gets the victory by flash pinfall, not submission, flash pinfall. And that can go right there. We're gonna get another tag team match on this card. I'm thinking Harlem Heat versus, let's do Smoking Guns. And Booker T will be getting the victory. And then we're going to have one more match on this card. Billy Kidman. I don't know who I want to put in this match. Jerry Lynn. Let's put Jerry Lynn in the match. He's going to be facing off against Leif Cassidy? Yeah, I guess. Jerry Lynn versus Leif Cassidy. And you know what? We're going to put Smoking Guns right there. We're going to change this to over here. Let's run the show. So, starting us off, we've got a Jericho promo. Eddie and Rey Mysterio coming out. They both want their tag team, their Cruiserweight Championships back. And Jericho refuses, but it's okay. J.J. Dillon comes out and he books a match for Championship Wrestling. I'm pretty sure that's where I had it. Yes, it is. So, Championship Wrestling, Chris Jericho will be defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio in a ladder match. Hopefully, the network lets us. They should, but hopefully they do. So, at Championship Wrestling, we got a 3-way ladder match. Scott Taylor versus the Sultan. In 520, the Sultan wins by pinfall with a big splash. So 59. Afterwards, we've got super cool dude Samu coming out. And he tells Scott Taylor that he's going to help him become cool. So super cool dude Samu takes Scott Taylor under his wing. He will make him cool. We've got Mike Awesome versus Jerry. Mike Awesome gets the victory in 551 by a pinfall with an Awesome Bomb. 74. We've got a backstage promo with the leader of the flock, Raven. He talks about his past, his alcoholic father. He hates everyone and everything who have been handed their opportunities. So the people who've been given everything deserve to go down, and Raven will shine through. Quote the Raven, nevermore. 76. D'Lo Brown defends the television championship against Sergeant Armstrong. And he makes defense number 5 of the TV championship, a 69. Afterwards, we've got Mean Gene interviewing D'Lo Brown, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley comes out to again say that he does challenge him. He wants the TV championship. So it looks like Hunter Hearst Helmsley is next in line for the television championship. So we've got Jerry Lynn versus Leif Cassidy, and Jerry Lynn gets the victory in 840 by pinfall with a cradle pile driver, a 79. We're backstage with Jesse Ventura and Johnny Valiant. They're brainstorming ideas to try to get J.J. Dillon out of here, but they can't come up with much. Tag team match, Harlem Heat get the victory over the Smoking Guns in 946 when Booker T defeated Billy Gunn by pinfall with a Spinebuster Harlem sidekick combo. Booker T was head and shoulders above everybody else. In 82, we've got the interview with Mick Foley. So, let's see what he says. Mick Foley. Although Cactus Jack helped little Foley, he was still alone. In a cold, dark world, no friends and no allies, so Foley needed some love. Dude Love came to be. He was always there for Foley when he was younger. Dude taught Foley how to dance, how to be happy, how to wrestle. Dude loved pro wrestling, and it was Dude's love of wrestling that turned Foley into a wrestling fan. Unfortunately, Dude Love hasn't connected with Foley in many years. Maybe he's gone. Maybe he's not. And that's it for week 3. We talk about the second character, the second persona of Mick Foley, and then we've got one more interview next week, and you can probably guess who that interview is going to be about. So in 93, and then we've got our main event, Superb Wrestling Great Heat, Dynamic Dudes defeat Steve Austin and Ken Shamrock when Shane Douglas defeated Austin by pinfall with a pile driver after a quick count by Dustin Rhodes. So in 83, it doesn't say it, but it was a quick count. Did I change the referee? If I didn't, pretend I did. Alright, let's just pretend I did. Alright. Fuel got a 1.45. Sultan's going to be a star. Eddie doesn't connect with fans. Ken Shamrock just said that Eddie Guerrero doesn't connect with fans. That is funny coming from Ken Shamrock. Scott Taylor's turning into a good work. I agree, Dustin. We need more positivity in this place. Oh my god. So before I do the signings, I did create the child company. Just give some bonuses here, so. Alright, I did create the developmental child company, whatever you want to call it. And I did like all your suggestions, but I went with MCW. Maryland Championship Wrestling. The only reason I went with this, even though it's not based in the tri-state, the only reason I went for MCW is because I'm a fan of OSW, and I want to call it Maryland. Alright, so it's going to be Maryland Wrestling. And we've got the Maryland Heavyweight Championship. And here is the roster for Maryland Championship Wrestling, or Maryland, sorry. First, let's finish signing these workers to their contracts for MCW. Do we want Tajiri as a face or a heel? I'm thinking face. Alright. So, the staff for Maryland, the booker and the owner, is Antonio Inoki. He had the best business reputation. He's no longer booker of NGPW since they folded. So now he is working for us. Let's look at their roster. Ahmed Johnson. I just sent him down because I don't have plans for him right now. Antonio Inoki, of course, is a road agent. Big Daddy DeMott, the Big Daddy himself. Buck Robley has a personality. I think it was supposed to be a road agent, but whatever. Bubba Ray Dudley. Let's see who I hire, because it's a child company, they can hire who they want. So here's who I signed: Bubba Ray Dudley, Christian Cage, Devon Dudley, Jinsei Shinzaki, who I want to rename to Hakushi. So let's Hakushi, Gesundheit, Hakushi. Alright, John Hogg Bradshaw, got Mike Chioda, Norman Smiley, who's going to be joining the main roster soon enough, Prince Ayakea, Psychosis, Robbie Rage, Funaki, Steve Carino, big fan of Steve Carino, Stevie Richards, big fan of Stevie Richards, Taka Michinoku, would be a great cruiserweight addition, the Black Phantom, who you may know as Gangrel. He did work for GCW. He has worked for GCW in the past. He's worked for us from 88 to 90. But before we bring him back, I think he needs some work. And Tajiri. And I also have Adam Copeland coming in, who probably better known as Sexton Hardcastle. But he's going to be joining us soon when his contract debuts. I'm going to send him down to MCW. Alright, let's get into today's second show right now. Alright, second show of today's episode. Let's get straight into Fuel. We're going to have the final Mick Foley sit-down interview with Jim Ross. It's going to be none. So, Mick Foley sit-down interview. Alright, that's going to go right there. We're going to have a promo with Shane Douglas, Johnny Ace, versus Booker T and Stevie Ray. So Dynamic Dudes versus Harlem Heat promo. That goes right there. We're going to have our opening promo be Dustin Rhodes, Steve Austin, Mike Awesome, Ken Shamrock. And Rhodes and Awesome versus Austin and Shamrock promo, which is going to be the main event at Championship Wrestling. It's going to be a tag match. Alright, we're going to get a Chris Jericho backstage promo. Jericho is pissed that he defends his title. Alright, that goes right there. We're going to get the super cool dudes Samu and Scott Taylor. Cool lesson number 1. Taylor, how to dance. Alright, cool lesson number 1. Samu teaches Scott Taylor how to dance. Then we're gonna get D'Lo Brown versus Jesse James. Television Championship, D'Lo Brown. Open, decisive, and you know what I like to do when I have storylines. D'Lo, Hunter, selling, acting, so HHH, attacks, D'Lo. Alright, and then I got one more thing to do. It is Aldo Montoya versus Chavo Guerrero. And in 8 minutes, Aldo will get the victory by flash pinfall. And afterwards, Aldo Montoya will be attacked by a Raven. Alright, now let's fill in some matches. So our main event. Lance Storm needs a match. He can face off against... not DDP. Fit Finlay versus Lance Storm. And Fit Finlay be getting the victory. Tainted pinfall. We're going to get Diamond Dallas Page. He's going to be losing this match. It's going to be against Billy Gunn. We're going to get Johnny Ace in action. He's going to be facing off against Steve Blackman. We're going to get, excuse me, Kona Crush versus Mortis. Alright, that can go right there. And one more match. It's going to be El Pantera versus the Patriot. And I got to take off a minute. Run the show. So, starting us off, we've got Mike Awesome and Dustin Rhodes versus Austin and Shamrock promo. These two teams will be facing off at Championship Wrestling this Sunday. 98. The Patriot defeats El Pantera. Not much to say. Super Cool Dude Samu teaches Scott Taylor how to dance. And Taylor breaks out his first worm. Aldo Montoya defeats Chavo Guerrero. Afterwards, Raven attacks Aldo Montoya. I'm trying to go fast because this episode went a little long, so... D'Lo Brown defeats Jesse James, and afterwards, Hunter Hearst Helmsley attacks D'Lo. These two face off at Championship Wrestling as well. A nothing match between Crush and Mortis. Chris Jericho is pissed, throwing a fit backstage because he's defending against Ray and Eddie. Johnny Ace versus Steve Blackman in 726. Johnny Ace gets the victory. Afterwards, the Harlem Heat come out, and these two teams agree to face each other at Championship Wrestling for Dynamic Dudes' #1 contendership. So the Dynamic Dudes are the current #1 contenders, and Harlem Heat are challenging them for that spot at Championship Wrestling. Billy Gunn defeats DDP. They don't click. That makes me sad. Alright, the final interview. The final individual within Foley was the most dangerous. When Cactus Jack couldn't defend and protect Foley, he did. When Foley was 16 and he was jumped by 4 seniors who went to his high school, he made them pay. He put each of them in the hospital after cutting the brake lines of their car. They all survived but were disfigured. He paid for his sins by cutting his own face with blades. He hasn't been seen in over 5 years, however, and hopefully he doesn't resurface, for the good of mankind. And that is it. That is the final Mick Foley interview. So now we can come back to regular programming. So Fit Finlay defeats Lance Storm in our main event. Mick Foley should have been the main event. Alright. And now we still got Championship Wrestling. I will only be showing the results. I will not be showing the booking process of Championship Wrestling 171. Let's get to it right now. Alright, we are here at Championship Wrestling 171. Let's get straight into the show. Starting off, we've got the Television Championship. Hunter Hearst Helmsley defeats D'Lo Brown in 14 minutes by pinfall with a handful of tights. Helmsley is the new Television Champion. They don't seem to click, which is unfortunate, but whatever. We're backstage with Chris Jericho and the Commissioner, Johnny Valiant. Jericho is begging Valiant to unbook the Triple Threat match, but Valiant can't unbook it, so he can't really do much, but he can change the stipulation. So for Jericho, because Jericho is very cool, the ladder match will be removed. So it's only a three-way singles match now. Now the real reason is because Bright House wasn't going to let us... Bright House is our broadcaster, our pay-per-view deal. They don't want a ladder match. They think it's too risky. So I'm going to go change their settings after we're done here, because I want to do ladder matches and stuff like that. So yeah. Whatever. For now, we can get around it. Super Cool Dude, Samu, and Scott Taylor defeat the Headbangers in 720 when Scott Taylor defeated Mosh by pinfall with a pile driver. So, did alright. Whatever. Did what he needed to do. Next up, we've got Raven versus Aldo Montoya, and Raven destroys Aldo Montoya in 4 minutes with an even flow DDT. Afterwards, Raven rips off the mask of Aldo Montoya and DDTs him a few more times. We've got the Dynamic Dudes versus Harlem Heat. Dynamic Dudes defeat Harlem Heat in 1554 when Shane Douglas defeated Stevie Ray by pinfall with a belly-to-belly suplex. Which means that the Dynamic Dudes are still the #1 contenders. They will be facing the Eliminators for the World Tag Team Championships at Intensity in Ireland in 2 weeks. And Harlem Heat and Dynamic Dudes, this is the first time they face off since 1993, I think. Fuel? When Shane Douglas betrayed Johnny Ace to join franchise. It was a long time ago. 92. And then we've got the Triple Threat, I think. Superb Wrestling Good Heat. Chris Jericho defeats Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio in 1728 when Chris Jericho defeated Rey Mysterio by pinfall after using a foreign object. That's not what happened. What really happened is Jericho rips off the mask of Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio covers his face so nobody sees it, but in the process, Jericho schoolboys Rey Mysterio, schoolboy roll up, and gets the 3 count because Rey's too busy trying to cover his face. And Eddie was unconscious on the outside. I don't know. So Jericho makes defense #1 of the Cruiserweight Championship. Pretty good match. 88. And then we got the main event. exceptional match. Steve Austin and Ken Shamrock defeated Dustin Rhodes and Mike Awesome in 17:46, when Steve Austin defeated Mike Awesome by pinfall after using underhanded tactics. So Shamrock was the weak link, but that's fine. And afterwards, Dude Love makes his debut in GCW and attacks Steve Austin and Ken Shamrock to end the show. 15. So Steve Austin, good job. We're going to tell Chris Jericho deserves it. And Shane Douglas. Alright. So that's going to do it for today's episode of GCW. Make sure to like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want more, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of GCW. Goodbye.